Welcome to Survive to Thrive Daily with Dr. Todd. I am Dr. Todd Wendell, husband, father, chiropractor, entrepreneur, and health architect, here to bring you daily tips and tricks to improve your life and literally help you move from just surviving to thriving. Let's get started. Welcome back. Welcome back to this edition of Survive or Thrive. That's right, this is Dr. Todd bringing you a daily trick or tip, more so some action items that you can take out of this lesson today and apply immediately in your lives, in the lives of the others that are around you, your loved ones, that can make a difference in moving you out of this day in, day out, just survival basis into literally living a life of thriving. Who wouldn't want to thrive in this day and age? And today's topic is the parameter. That's right, the parameter. You see, in this day and age, parameters have been grayed. They have been grayed into such a severe level that being able to define so many different things in life is almost impossible. And we have a society that doesn't know to be correct, politically incorrect, and which direction to go. And when we don't have parameters, some basic parameters of rights and wrongs, we don't have parameters of definition of men and women, we don't have definitions and parameters on how to act in school or be who you are meant to be, because there's nobody leading and being in that direction or an example of who to be. See, the parameters are all over the place. And we're raising a generation, and you and I are caught in a society of no parameters, because we're afraid that if we define these parameters, we can hurt somebody's feelings. If we define these parameters, we might be persecuted in society for squelching somebody's ideas or beliefs. But the neat part of this is that you get to define parameters for you. So we stop worrying about what the world thinks, and we stop worrying about what you're supposed to be based in the eye of society, and you define parameters for you and your family. And this is what we're going to talk about today, is parameters specifically in your household for your kids and the time that they spend, whether it be in social media, in front of a phone, in front of a computer. Because if you do not define these parameters will define themselves. And so this comes off of a story yesterday. We took our kiddos out to a local restaurant, really good restaurant, McAdoo's, if you haven't been there. She does a great job and always good food, so we love to go there. And one of the things that we did is sat down at the table. There's only 4 of us. Our oldest was out at a baseball camp with a pitching camp of some sort. And so we grabbed lunch. I was in between work at the office. We take a lunch break, and I get to spend some time. So it opened up that we could actually have some lunch together. And we all sit down, and immediately everybody just gets on their phones. And this happens quite often. But what happens quite often is what ensued here in a couple minutes. That we look around the table and everybody's like, oh, what are we going to get to eat? I know what I want to eat because we've been here before. This is good, and blah, blah. And then the girls go on to, let's play a game. And that's okay, because there are times when they can play a game. But immediately I start to set parameters of like, this is not what we do. This is not what we're going to do at a dinner table. It's not what we're going to do in a restaurant. And then I look at myself having to check a couple quick emails, get back to staff and texting and stuff like that. And I cannot, in my right mind, get mad at my girls or set parameters for my girls if I'm not willing to set those parameters for myself. And so immediately mine goes off in my pocket and silent, and we set some parameters. And we go back to playing an old game that we used to play. And so the game was name that animal. So we, around the table, I know it sounds superficial. It almost sounds archaic, something like that we did in the 1950s or something like that. But we actually talk to each other. And there's this mental block that starts to be unleashed in the aspects that we're actually communicating. And we're communicating an aspect of this game goes, I'm thinking of an animal. And we describe its colors, and then everybody gets to ask questions and try to guess. And whoever gets it right gets to go next. And so we go around the table. It's stupid, it's simple, but it's engagement. And as we're doing this gal next to us literally looks over, and I caught out of the corner of my eye, she was standing there. And if this was you, I so appreciate you. And if you're listening to this, I so appreciate you. Because there was a little bit of feedback that she was willing to get. As I caught her and I looked up, there was almost like a glistening in her eyes, almost like she was tearing up. And she goes, I'm sorry, as she was looking at our family, but I am so enjoying what I'm seeing and listening to right now. She says, you are a family that is engaging. And it struck me so deep at the heart that this is the rarity that we have in our society, that playing a stupid, simple game of name that animal shows such a big engagement, that it's so off the mark, that it shines, it literally shines so bright in this society, in this world, that it stands out at an unbelievable mark for somebody to just say, hey, this is incredible. And what used to be our commonalities of what we did as a family unit has now become this unicorn, this rare thing that is out there, you know, that everybody wants, everybody's searching for, but nobody knows how to get. And so what you need to learn today is actually where in your world you're letting this infiltrate in. If you're listening to my podcast, you're taking 10 minutes away from something else that you could do. All right. And I appreciate that. And I don't take that lightly in the aspects that we want to give you something that will gain you that 10 minutes back. And today it is about setting parameters for your family. I don't care who you are in your household. The man, the woman, maybe an older brother, sister, somebody that can do this, but you engage right now and set some parameters for that. And let me give you a few ideas. When is your family together? When and where is that time together? Okay, you can put technology to work. There's apps for these types of things. You can put technology to work, but you set some parameters. If it's in the evening, that's all it needs to be. It's in the evening, setting a parameter, meaning that you're actually, all cell phones go off. We had a group that started a cell phone bucket challenge, and everybody was like literally taking their cell phone and putting it in a bucket, and everybody got creative and create your own bucket. If you got younger kids, have them create a bucket. Okay, if they have cell phones or iPads and gadgets, they all go in a bucket. Or it's just known at 6 o'clock, boom, alarm goes off, everybody's done, everybody's off it. Really, you need to actually set these parameters, but you need to ask yourself that at this moment, anything that happens on that cell phone, could it not be taken care of at a later time? And so there's this concept of being here in the present that I've done a podcast previously, but be here in the present, being here now, not living for what's going to happen an hour from now, not living for what happened in the past, not carrying through baggage of your history of the day, the hour before, the relationship that just got jumbled up because of an issue that you might have had. No matter what your bank statement came in and said, you know, just an hour before, you're clearing shit off the table to be engaged immediately right now at this time. And here we are at a little table in McAdoo's engaging. And my girls will remember these things. They are the moments that, hey, remember when we used to play this? Do you remember when? Let's do it again. And it may be at a different version. It may migrate, but it is what we will do as a unit because I've set these parameters. We set these parameters. Do we allow the kids to involve themselves in technology? Absolutely. I feel it's something that they're going to need in their lives. Whether that changes or not, whether I'm wrong or right, it does not matter. But we set parameters. Are they allowed to have sugar? Yes, but there's parameters that we set for this because we know that sugar constantly and every day is not a good thing. There's parameters that set. We have parameters when we walk across the flippin' street. We have parameters from when we're actually walking across the street. That's right, we stop, we look both ways so we don't get hit by a car. And it's the same thing that you need to engage in your world to set parameters for these kiddos in their engagement in technology and their engagement in people. We had a point at which once our kids could actually communicate that they order their own food. And if they didn't order their own food, they didn't eat. Because there was a parameter they had to set that you have to engage in this life. You have to look up and see somebody to be able to have some sort of conversation, some sort of connection, to be able to actually engage, see the person, and in the simplicity, order your food. But my whole thing on that is to actually see the person that is there. See that person that's busting their ass on a daily basis to be able to help you get some food in exchange for your money. Not seeing it anything different than, hey, get over here type of concept, but seeing the person that's actually earning the money for their family by providing an amazing service for you. And so we set these parameters for our kids, or we do not. And you first got to set the parameters within your own world. If you are coming home and using technology as a babysitter for your kids, it's got to stop right now. Set the parameters, okay? Put it at 6 o'clock. I know there's sports, there's other things, and there's so many different parameters that you could set, okay? It may be during breakfast that everybody gets up, I got to check my emails, got to see what's going on in the day, all right? And you set the parameters. Nope, it does not stop. Does not start until noon. It does not start until 2 o'clock. It starts only with this box that we've created for you in the aspect that you have this window of time that you can do technology. Otherwise, get your butts outside and go play. You set some parameters that they're limitations. They're parameters like crossing the street. We look right, we look left, and then we go. In technology, we look left and we look right, and then we go. And we go into the aspects that we turn them off because the most important parts of life are engagements. And if you didn't hear yesterday's podcast, it is the same concept that kids need connection. And they're going to find that connection in a video game. They're going to find that connection in somebody else. They're going to find that connections in drugs and alcohol unless you provide a parameter for when and where they connect daily. That's right. You have to define the parameter for where they can connect. They're not going to do it themselves. And in a society that is becoming more and more disconnected, you can actually provide an environment for them to connect and be this light that shines so bright in a disconnected world that it might just make an example for somebody else. Define your parameters and move from just surviving to thriving daily. That's all I got for you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.